For most of his life, Robin Gibb let the music speak while he stayed hidden behind it. The soaring falsetto, the haunted melodies, the perfection etched into every note. Millions heard the sound, but almost no one understood the cost. Behind the Bee Gees' global triumph was a man carrying fractures, rivalries, illness, and a truth he kept buried until the very end. As his body failed and time ran out, pieces of that hidden story finally surfaced, revealing a tragedy far deeper than fame and a suspicion fans had sensed for years but never fully understood. Tonight we uncover what Robin Gibb lived with in silence, and why the truth only emerged when it was almost too late. The Bee Gees' story began quietly, long before the fame, with three brothers bound by instinctive harmony and a shared love of performing. Robin Gibb was born in December 1949 alongside his twin Maurice, and together with their older brother Barry, the foundation of what would become one of music's most iconic groups was already forming. In the early 1950s, the boys became obsessed with music after borrowing their older sister Leslie's records, spinning songs by Elvis Presley, Tommy Steele, and the Everly Brothers. With cardboard boxes turned into make-believe guitars, they staged imaginary concerts, already dreaming bigger than their surroundings. Their first real chance came in 1956 at the Gaumont Movie Theater just a few blocks from home. Local kids were allowed to pantomime songs on stage, so the Gibb brothers brought Leslie's records and practiced with neighborhood friends Paul Frost and Kenny Ricks, calling themselves the Rattlesnakes. Disaster struck moments before their performance when the sound technician accidentally dropped and shattered the record they planned to use. Most kids would have panicked. The Gibbs didn't. Barry stepped forward with his guitar, and they performed live instead. The audience loved it, and the brothers knew they had something special. By May 1958, the Rattlesnakes dissolved after their friends left, but the Gibb brothers refused to give up. They regrouped, renamed themselves Johnny Hayes and the Blue Cats, and Barry adopted the stage name Johnny Hayes. Just months later, in August 1958, the family made a life-changing decision. Seeking a fresh start, the Gibbs left England and moved to Australia, settling in the coastal town of Redcliffe, Queensland, northeast of Brisbane. The move included the entire family: parents Hugh and Barbara, sister Leslie, and younger brother Andy. In Australia, the brothers chased every opportunity they could find. In 1959, they began performing between races at the Redcliffe Speedway, where their harmonies caught the attention of race driver Bill Good. Impressed, Good contacted radio DJ Bill Gates, who was equally struck by their natural sound. Gates began recording the boys and playing their music on the radio. It was his idea to call them the Bee Gees, a set of initials shared by Barry Gibb, Bill Good, and Bill Gates, soon reinterpreted as Brothers Gibb. Around this time, their father Hugh stepped in as manager. He set aside his photography business to focus entirely on his sons' careers, determined to guide them toward success. The brothers soon became familiar faces on Australian television, appearing on shows like Anything Goes and Brisbane Tonight. They also performed relentlessly at theaters, nightclubs, and bars, despite their young age. Hugh taught them classic Mills Brothers harmonies, while their mother Barbara carefully chose their outfits, shaping their polished image. The brothers' next turning point came when they met Nat Kipner, an American songwriter and producer with a sharp understanding of the music business. Kipner had just taken on a leadership role as A&R manager at Spin Records, a newly formed independent label, and he immediately sensed something special in the Bee Gees. Convinced of their potential, he became their manager and helped move them from Festival Records to Spin. While Festival continued handling distribution in Australia, the shift to Spin gave the group a much-needed fresh start and a sense that someone truly believed in them. Through Kipner, the brothers were introduced to Ossie Byrne, a gifted sound engineer who shared their confidence and enthusiasm. Byrne welcomed them into his modest, custom-built studio at St. Clair Studios in Hurstville, Sydney. It wasn't a glamorous setup, but it gave the Bee Gees the freedom to experiment, refine their harmonies, and shape a sound that felt uniquely theirs. Slowly, momentum began to build. Their records started gaining attention, and they scored their first Australian hit, cracking the charts and signaling that their steady grind was finally paying off. Then, in February 1967, everything changed. The Bee Gees auditioned for Robert Stigwood, a powerful industry figure known for spotting and developing major talent. The audition left Stigwood deeply impressed. He quickly signed the brothers to a 5-year deal that would release their music through Polydor Records in the UK and Atco Records in the United States. For the first time, international success felt within reach. Almost overnight, comparisons to the Beatles began to surface, an exciting but intimidating label that brought both opportunity and immense pressure. With serious backing behind them, the Bee Gees prepared for the global stage. To expand their sound, they added Colin Peterson on drums and Vince Melouney on guitar, giving the band more musical range. Their next British single, New York Mining Disaster 1941, arrived with an unusual marketing twist. Radio stations received copies with no artist name attached, only the song title. The mystery sparked rumors that it might be a secret new Beatles release, drawing listeners in immediately. The strategy worked. New York Mining Disaster 1941 climbed rapidly, breaking into the top 20 in both the UK and the US. For the Bee Gees, it was a breakthrough moment, proof that they had finally captured international attention. Critics and fans alike took notice, and the band stepped into a new chapter filled with acclaim, expectation, and mounting pressure. As their profile grew, so did the internal tensions and creative clashes that would later test their bond. In 1968, just as their popularity was reaching new heights, the Bee Gees were hit with a sudden crisis. A major 7-week tour of the United States was already scheduled when Robin Gibb collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. Doctors diagnosed him with nervous exhaustion, the result of relentless pressure and stress. The setback forced the group into an impossible position. With Robin sidelined, Barry and Maurice tried to keep moving forward, but something essential was missing. Without Robin's voice, the music no longer felt whole. As the months passed, tensions that had been simmering beneath the surface began to boil over. Creative disagreements grew sharper, especially around the single 1st of May. Robin strongly believed Lamplight should be the lead track, and when his opinion was overruled, he felt increasingly pushed aside. In 1969, that frustration reached a breaking point. Robin made the painful decision to leave the Bee Gees and pursue a solo career. Barry and Maurice carried on as a duo, but the absence was immediately felt. Their first performance without Robin at London's Talk of the Town was emotionally conflicted, successful on the surface, yet heavy with loss. As they continued recording the album Cucumber Castle, Robin's absence lingered over everything. Meanwhile, Robin found early solo success with Saved by the Bell, which only deepened uncertainty about the Bee Gees' future. As Robin's solo career gained momentum, Barry and Maurice struggled to maintain direction as a duo. Each brother began exploring individual projects, but none of it fully replaced what they had lost together. Once inseparable, the brothers now moved along separate paths, leaving fans to wonder whether the Bee Gees were gone for good. By the early 1970s, distance gave way to reflection. While vacationing in Spain, Barry began to reassess the cost of their division. Around the same time, Maurice reached out to Robin with a heartfelt apology for the bitterness and arguments of the past. That simple act reopened a door that had seemed permanently closed. Slowly, the brothers reunited, not just personally, but creatively. In 1971, the Bee Gees returned as a trio with their 9th album, Trafalgar. Its lead single, How Can You Mend a Broken Heart, became a powerful symbol of reconciliation, lifting them back into the UK top 10 after years of personal and professional turmoil. The 1970s marked a dramatic reinvention. Embracing a new sound, the Bee Gees leaned into disco, propelled by Barry's soaring falsetto. Songs like You Should Be Dancing signaled a bold transformation, and their involvement in the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack sealed their status as global icons. Even as musical trends shifted, their songs continued to resonate, securing a legacy that stretched far beyond a single genre or era. But by the end of 1979, the tide turned again. Disco's sudden backlash hit hard, and few artists were more closely associated with the genre than the Bee Gees. Radio stations pulled their music, audiences moved on, and critics dismissed what had once dominated the charts. On top of everything else, the Bee Gees were soon pulled into a draining legal battle. A musician accused them of borrowing elements from their classic hit, How Deep Is Your Love? At first, the court sided with the accuser, ruling that the Bee Gees hadn't presented enough expert testimony to defend themselves. It was a crushing blow. Months later, however, that decision was overturned on appeal, and the brothers were fully cleared of all wrongdoing. Still, the ordeal left emotional scars. Being forced to defend their integrity after decades of success weighed heavily on them. Despite the turbulence, the Bee Gees never lost their love for performing, or their deep bond with their audience. One of the most powerful moments of their later years came when they honored their late brother Andy Gibb during a live performance. By blending Andy's recorded voice into Our Love, Don't Throw It All Away, they transformed the song into a tribute. The moment was raw and deeply emotional, reminding everyone in the room of the brothers' unbreakable connection and Andy's enduring presence. The audience was left visibly moved. That night sparked something important. Barry, Robin, and Morris were reminded of the rare magic they shared with their fans. Energized by that connection, they launched a global tour titled One Night Only. Fueled by decades of loyalty and love from audiences around the world, the tour became a massive success. It reignited their careers, introduced their music to a new generation, and gave the brothers a renewed sense of purpose. For a time, it felt like a full-circle moment. Three brothers, back where they belonged. But time, once again, brought heartbreak. In 2002, Maurice Gibb, the heart, humor, and glue of the Bee Gees, was hospitalized unexpectedly. His condition worsened rapidly, and he passed away soon after. Barry and Robin were devastated. With Maurice gone, the Bee Gees could no longer exist as a trio. Out of respect and love for their brother, they made the painful decision to retire the Bee Gees' name entirely, marking the end of one of the most legendary acts in music history. Though grief-stricken, Barry and Robin's bond endured. In 2006, they stepped on stage together for the first time since Maurice's death. Not for a grand comeback, but for a charity event in Miami that held deep personal meaning. It was a quiet, powerful appearance, showing that while the Bee Gees' era had ended, the family's musical spirit lived on. In the years that followed, Robin faced a devastating battle of his own. Diagnosed with serious health issues, he grew weaker over time but chose to fight privately. Even as he was forced to cancel performances, he stayed connected to fans, earning widespread admiration for his strength and dignity. After his death, confusion surrounded what had actually taken his life. Many reports pointed to cancer, but that, according to his son Robin John Gibb, was not the full truth. In a revealing interview, Robin John explained that his father's cancer had gone into remission and was barely detectable near the end. It wasn't cancer that claimed Robin Gibb. It was kidney failure. The clarification helped explain a mystery that had unsettled fans. Just weeks earlier, in February, Robin had spoken optimistically to the BBC, saying a tumor had been removed from his colon and that he felt strong, active, and hopeful. By April, he had slipped into a coma. By May, he was gone. In the days after Robin Gibb's death on May 20th, many reports pointed to cancer as the cause. But according to his son, Robin John Gibb, that story was wrong. Speaking after a period of mourning, he explained that his father did not die from liver or colon cancer at all. In fact, Robin had gone into remission. The cancer was completely unrecognizable, his son said. It was too small to detect. My father actually died of kidney failure. That revelation helped explain why Robin's public statements earlier that year sounded so hopeful. In February, he told the BBC that a growth had been removed from his colon and that he felt fantastic, describing the next steps as little more than mopping up. Fans were stunned when just weeks later his health collapsed and he fell into a coma before passing away in May. Robin John clarified that the kidney failure was a separate condition, though one worsened by the strain of cancer treatments on his body. He also expressed frustration over conflicting medical opinions during his father's final days. While some doctors wanted to reduce sedation so Robin could fight, others believed further intervention was futile. 3 days before his death, Robin suffered a seizure. Heavy sedatives followed, his liver failed to process them, and his kidneys soon shut down as well. Despite the sudden decline, Robin John described his father's final moments as calm and dignified. Surrounded by family, he passed peacefully. Later, alone with his father, Robin John played "I Started a Joke," placing the phone on his chest, and finally allowed himself to break down. A private funeral was planned in Oxfordshire, with a public tribute to follow when Titanic Requiem, co-written by Robin and his son, was performed in Rome. Another British newspaper, the Sunday Mirror, reported Sunday that Gibb had given the mother of his love child a lump sum payment of £4 million, or about $6.4 million, a few months before he died to provide for the care of their 3-year-old. Claire Yang, the former housekeeper for Gibb and his wife, gave birth to Snow Robin in 2008, and the singer is said to not only have acknowledged the paternity, but even provided Yang a house, which was reportedly transferred into her name shortly before Gibb's death. Behind the scenes, Robin's personal life was just as complicated. His long marriage to Dwina Murphy Gibb was unconventional but deeply rooted. That bond was shaken in 2009 when it emerged that Robin had fathered a daughter, Snow, with their former housekeeper, Claire Yang. Dwina was reportedly devastated by the revelation despite the couple's history of openness. When Robin died, his estate was estimated at over $140 million, with Robin John his only child with Dwina. He also had 2 older children, Melissa and Spencer, from his first marriage to Molly Hullis, a relationship strained by fame and long separations. There were also long-standing tensions within the Bee Gees themselves. In the group's early years, Robin often drew the spotlight, creating friction with Barry Gibb and contributing to Robin's brief departure in the late 1960s. Although they reunited and conquered the disco era together, that emotional distance never fully disappeared, and it lingered during Robin's illness. Barry later admitted deep regret over their fractured relationship in a moving funeral tribute. After Robin's passing, Barry honored their shared legacy through music. His 2013 solo tour became a heartfelt tribute to his brothers, and in 2016, Capitol Records ensured the Bee Gees' catalog would live on for future generations. Despite illness, family strain, and unresolved pain, Robin Gibb's story remains one of brilliance, complexity, and brotherhood, proof that while life is fragile, music can be eternal.